I've wanted to do this for a while, but it's just taken a little bit of time to find a break in between new content and reveals to do this. But we're going to start weekly covering the market, some of the bigger moves in Magic, and I'm sure there's other people who do it as well. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, just want to give my thoughts and kind of talk about things that I'm keeping an eye on. So let's get into the video. Alright guys, thanks so much for checking out the channel. If you do enjoy, please hit the like button and subscribe. Click the bell icon if you want to be notified whenever new videos are posted. And if you haven't checked out the channel membership yet, feel free to do so. Now with a QR code right on the screen, you can scan that code to go right there to the page if you want to check it out. During the month of August, all channel members do get a free booster pack, as well as a bunch of other cool perks like voting on topics and other things. So check it out, see for yourself why people are starting to sign up, and very much appreciate all of the support from everybody there. But today we're going to talk about the market a little bit, and we've kind of done some coverage of Commander Masters exclusively over the past little bit, but I want to look at the market as a whole and talk about some of the biggest moves from this week. And I'm just going to kind of get into it, and I think as we go along with this, it might be easier to find a format that works, but you know, I'm using MTG stocks for the most part to look at trends and then kind of doing a bit more of a deep dive to look at actual values, simply because from what I can tell, MTG stocks, the numbers seem a little bit inflated. I don't know where the data comes from exactly, but it just looks like it's a little bit all over the place. So, you know, I'm kind of looking at that, and then TCG players, graphs, functions, etc. But that's enough talking for me. So, first one up here, Preordained from the Secret Lair specifically is seeing a big jump in interest. It was about $18, give or take, you know, at the beginning of August, and then with the announcement yesterday that it was unbanned in both Legacy and Modern, I believe, the Secret Lair version has gone from about $8 up to $18.20, with the lowest available listings now being about $30 on TCG Player, and that is a pretty wild jump. But it's an awesome artwork, and it's also just a very good card. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not well versed enough in Legacy to know why this was banned, but I guess if I had to guess, it would just have to do with it being extremely accessible, you know, low-cost draw power that you can kind of get into quite easily. Across the board, this card is definitely selling for a lot of its variants, including a few from, you know, the Lord of the Rings and Brothers War Commander decks. Pretty much any alternate versions of these, they're seeing big spikes. There are still some relatively inexpensive versions of the card, though, like the dual decks versions and stuff around, you know, a couple bucks for near mint. But if you have Preordained in any capacity, you will definitely note that they are all going up in value and demand because of that return. Next one, Splinter Twin is seeing a big jump as well, and this one I'm not entirely sure why, but maybe people can tell me. It's only got a couple versions. The Rise of the Eldrazi one is seeing a slight jump here. It was actually around $6.68 at the beginning of August, and now the cheapest near mint copy is $20, so that's, again, a very large jump. And I don't know if it's just seeing more play in Modern or other formats, but it doesn't have a ton of prints. Like I said, it's only been printed 3 times, and even its list version, which, you know, it was about 6 and change, is now up to about 12 to 15 with a very small amount of listings. So there are definitely people going after this, and it's probably something that you should keep an eye on. I mean, looking at the recency of the buyouts on this, it's really happened over the past couple days, especially with foil versions. They are going up in price quite a bit, so we're seeing a lot of movement there. You guys didn't think I was going to get through a whole video without talking about Commander Masters, did you? There are a lot of cards in this set that have been going up a lot after release day. We did the live stream. We talked about how a lot of stuff bottomed out, and then there's just been some crazy spikes. One of the reasons I kind of stress to people, you know, either buy it on day one or wait, is because there comes a bottom out point where everything's so low, and then people start to look and say, oh, that card should be worth more than that, or I can get an extra copy of this or whatever, and eventually, you know, they start to disappear off the market. You know, the Borderless Deadly Relic was about, I don't know, 20 bucks, give or take, on release day, with the foil being around 20, and now the Borderless regular is about 25, and the Borderless foil is about 32 to 31. I don't know why I said that backwards. Basically, it is up quite a lot, and people have just been going after it. It does look like there's some competition with people starting to put some, you know, listings up, but generally, just speaking as, you know, rule of thumb, this is seeing a very large increase in price. Fierce Guardianship, perhaps one of the biggest cards from Commander Masters to see a bump. This card was $35 on release day and about, give or take, $60 for the foil. It has basically doubled on the standard version. It's about $60 now for the regular and about $90 to $95 for the foil. A huge jump. I did think this card was a little low priced considering its impact and, you know, the fact that it just was not cheap beforehand. And I didn't expect people to go into it as hard as they have, but this one, if you got this on day one, you're probably very happy about it. I know I passed on this, and then that was an L on my part, but I didn't think it was going to see the jumps that it was. You know, nearly a 100% increase on the regular, and then a 50% increase on the foil is just kind of wild. Weaver of Harmony is going up for all of its printings. I have to imagine this is because of the enchantment deck. It is a very good card, and I think, you know, just being a lower value rare, but it was like about, I don't know, 65 cents for a while, going up to like $1.50 into July when the decks were starting to be announced. Now it's about 4 and change at the cheapest based on what I'm seeing here, and then the foil copies seem to go up to about, actually the foils are technically less at 3, but there's some sold listings around $6. Which, you know, maybe TCG Player Direct type thing. I'm not really sure where people are kind of getting the sales from, but it did see a spike, and you can definitely see the graph kind of showing its significant increase in price with the demand. So I wouldn't go too crazy on this, though. I think you're going to see just quantity start to outweigh demand. People will list extras, and you'll be able to get them a lot cheaper, I would imagine. Demonic Tutor, Borderless, another Commander Masters card. This is a beautiful artwork. I really like this card. I bought a regular Demonic Tutor from the set on release day. We did the live stream. I think I paid about 25. These were about 35 at the time. They are now about 60, and then 85 for the foil. So basically a double up, give or take. Didn't expect that jump, but can't say I'm super surprised. When you have a card like Demonic Tutor that has some cool artwork and just a more rare version of it, I think people, you know, start to go after it. So these got bought up like hotcakes and now are much more expensive than they were before. I don't know where the market's going to go for this. I would imagine over time, a lot of these spikes, especially for Commander Masters, are going to come way back down. But we'll see what happens. It's just going to be kind of hard to tell. The Borderless Soul Ring, another one I skipped on buying. It was like 4. I was like, I'll wait. You know, obviously kind of a dumb move, I think. It hit as low as about 4 and change. Now it's up to about 8 to 9 for the regular and 30 for the foil. You know, the foil had only dropped to about 15 on release day, but still, this card just being an amazing Art of Soul Ring and being just probably one of the most, if not the most played cards in Commander, just saw a massive spike, basically, you know, doubled up in price, and, you know, there's just a lot of sales, and there's not, you can see the graph starting to curve back upwards. I'm not surprised by this, really. I'm just a little bummed out that it happened as soon as it did, and honestly, in the future, I think when it comes to a card like this, I'll probably just grab it sooner rather than later and bite the bullet to make sure that, that I'm not missing out, because I don't really want to end up having to overpay. Deflecting SWAT, arguably one of the biggest, you know, high demand cards from the set. I pulled one in my box as well as another one in a box I opened off camera. I sold them at the time. They were around 35, and then, you know, like, I don't know, 45 for the foil. We're looking at a lot more now, another $10 on top of the regular, so they're around 45, and then the foils are around 75 to 80. A big jump. This card was a target of what looked like a buyout, or at least just a flowing of demand on Saturday, sort of the day after Commander Masters became legal. So a lot of interested hands. I would imagine some deep pockets probably going in on these. And realistically speaking, I mean, these are pretty hot commodities, pretty good cards in a lot of decks. And I just think that people are going to want the premium versions. But even regular Deflecting SWAT from Commander Masters is up a ton. It was like $20 on release day, and now it's like 30 to 33 for the regular, and the foils are around 40. I didn't see that jump coming at all. I honestly thought it would stay around 20, if not drop a few bucks lower. This one was a big surprise. It's a really good card. It's really the only logic I could think of, and I think it's just a matter of, like, maybe people seeing how good it is and how cheap it was, but it's starting to spike back up pretty hard. We'll see whether or not that lasts, but still, you could have gotten them around 19. Now they're 30, so if you grabbed them early, good. If not, I would just wait, because there should, ideally, be a falling out point coming pretty soon for some of this stuff. And then Erzas Workshop. This is a card that was in the Brothers War Commander decks. It was only in those, and then it was an extended art in the collector boosters. It's like a $3 card. Now it is up to about 10. I think it's very good. I think part of the reason is the Eldrazi deck has a lot of the Urza lands, so you're able to utilize that with this to, like, stack a lot of colorless mana. And that and just kind of scarcity. The regular version is actually worth more than the foil, which is interesting. But the card as a whole is seeing a lot of interest, and there are, you know, the 2 different versions. If you extended arts, looks like it's less, which is just weird, but it does happen sometimes. So if you're interested in that, just be aware that that is up pretty significantly over the past couple of weeks. And finally, for the video this week, Emerald Medallion. This one's actually really interesting because I think it's the weakest of the medallions, just because a lot of green stuff, you know, doesn't, it sees the least play, I guess, in Commander is what I'm saying, in terms of, you know, where it's necessary. Green can ramp a lot. You don't always need things like this where we're having like the Jet Medallion or Pearl Medallion are going to be a lot more consistently useful for you. But this was down to like 3. This was really low, and it was much cheaper than the other medallions. And then on Saturday, it got cleared out and is now up to about 10 to 11. I don't know if someone just saw it was much cheaper and wanted to level them out or what happened. But this is, you know, a little bit more than doubled up, and it's a good card. I mean, it's definitely got its uses. I just think it's interesting that that it was so low and now has since risen. So just a bit of an overview on the market. I want to try to start doing one of these at least once a week, just talking about some of the biggest trends on the market so you guys can be aware and we can have some discussions about it. Let me know what you guys thought of the video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the market movement this week and other things that I didn't cover, because obviously there's a lot, and, you know, I'm just talking about some of the more, you know, top end stuff. Let me know, and I'll catch you in the next video.